Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Dyderson Chauskas. Today's the 17th of July 2018, so welcome to this Tuesday morning session. excuse me for the voice, where we're gonna have a look at a few instruments that I believe are quite important at this point. But before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content of this webinar does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Also, before we jump into the charts, quick reminder of our JFD Brokers research page, where you can go in and have a look at different analysis that we do on a daily basis with our different trading shoutouts. So yeah, feel free guys to check us out, and I believe you can find something useful for yourselves here. So yep, but for now, let's have a look at the charts. The first one I want to touch on, guys, is the FTSE 100. Now, this is at an interesting spot, and or let's say probably not a spot, but it's forming a range here. Now it's probably waiting for a nice pop here later on, but certainly at this point we need to kind of keep in mind that for now this could end up moving here sideways a little bit. This is a daily chart, by the way, guys, so we could end up moving just between these areas here. The on the high side here we've got the 7710 mark that I keep talking about, this one over my previous videos, and of course we do have this 7510 mark as well. So about a 200 point range here, certainly until it kind of gets out of this, to kind of position yourselves for a longer trade. I mean, that would be a bit tricky because, like I said, we need to see this one coming out of it, coming out of this range here, either through the upper side here through the 7710 and then pushing higher, where we could then aim for the 7795 mark, or even slightly above that, the psychological 7800, or we need to see a nice break here below this 7510 in order to see this one traveling all the way down here towards this 200 EMA and then below. So for now, guys, we are kind of stuck here. Certainly we could potentially try and trade this one, maybe try to scalp here a little bit, but to be honest, if you're the one who likes to take longer trades, then probably you need to kind of wait here until we kind of get out of this 200 point range. Looking at the 4-hour chart on this one, this is how we could eventually position ourselves. So we can see that we're having these this sideways activity here for now. So an idea, this is probably just an idea where you could potentially start maybe looking at maybe a break of the 7570 mark approximately there, and if we do get a nice break here, this is where it could potentially open the path towards the 7545 mark, and then the level that I was just talking about, the 7510, certainly. But for that we would need to see, just let me zoom in here a little bit, we would need to see a nice break here below this 7570 area. Certainly I cannot kind of tell you how important it is to have a stop loss if you are entering a position here. For example, a nice probably could nice area for a stop loss, let's say like that, could potentially be the levels that we had here approximately, this point here. So if we let's say position ourselves for something like this and aim for the 7510 mark on a break of the 7570, so we could, like I said, we could potentially position ourselves for something like this, where we could place our stop loss just maybe a point above or something above the 7600. So this is of course just an idea. Certainly we're seeing here at the moment this sideways activity, but like I said, for now just probably stay sharp here. We could get anything, and we could potentially maybe see a move back up here again towards the upper side of this range that I was just talking about. So for now, keep a close eye on it. Certainly, like I said, and keep an eye on this level right now, the 75.70, if you're looking for some short trades. Let's have a look at DXY. Now this is what I wanted to show you as well, guys, and let's put a daily chart for this one. Certainly this is the interesting picture that's opening up, and this is a daily chart, and we can see that we had a break. Well, it was trading above this upside support line, and this upside support line has been running here since around mid-April. We continued to push higher. It was looking strong, but then found its resistance at around 95.55 area, and then from which it moved lower. So the dollar index moved lower, broke this upside support line here at around the in the beginning of July, and but then actually quickly reversed back up here and tested this support line from underneath, which actually proved to be quite a nice area of resistance. So we're seeing now this reversal to the downside. The question here is, of course, I mean, is this going to continue pushing lower, or are we actually going to reverse here and move back up and test the 95.15 area, and then maybe actually get back above this this kind of support line, this upside support line? So for now, guys, it's at this point, looking at this daily chart, I mean, it could be a bit of a tricky one. Certainly we do have a nice potential area for support around here. Actually, let me just kind of adjust the levels here a little bit. So we do have this one right here at around 93.75 mark, which could play out nicely, but only could play out nicely if we get a move here below this 94.15, and then of course this 50 EMA here shown as the red line. So keep an eye on this one. If this, like I said, if this continues to push lower, we could start aiming for 94.15, and a break of which could lead to a test of the this area right here, where we saw the index kind of dropping here on the 9th of July. So it found its nice area of support here at around this 93.75, maybe slightly a little bit below that, but nevertheless it's around that area. So yep, keep an eye, guys, on this little range here. If we get a nice break here above the 95.15, if suddenly this reverses back up here, well, this is, of course, it's not, it will be more to the positive side, but still kind of keep an eye on this upside support line. We would need to see a nice move back above here, back above this support line, and then eventually actually back above the well, actually above the, not back above the, but above the 95.55 area. Now this is where it could become interesting, because this is where probably more bulls would start jumping in, as they could see some potential here for this index kind of pushing higher, maybe even actually going towards this 96 area, 96.55 mark, approximately 96.50. Let's round it up to the, yeah, to the closest, yep, 0. So we could end up pushing higher here, but only, of course, if we see a nice break and a close on a daily chart above this 95.55 area. Another one that I really wanted to quickly touch on, maybe it's for some of you could be an interesting one, but for some maybe you don't look at it very often, but nevertheless, Bitcoin kind of started playing a huge part in the financial world, and this is where the interesting picture is. So this is a daily chart, and we do have this nice area of resistance that the Bitcoin kind of continues to test, and that is around the 68.50 mark. So let me just kind of quickly round it up here. So this is around this area, the 68.50. Now it continues to bang and knock on the door of this line here, but still kind of it proves to be as a quite good area of resistance. But to be honest, we can see that yesterday we had a nice reversal here to the upside again, and we pushed higher, so we could eventually test this 68.50 mark again. So something for you guys to keep an eye on, and of course you probably understand where I'm heading for, and we could eventually maybe see a nice break here, because we do have looking at this daily chart, we do have the higher lows now getting created, so getting formed. So we potentially could actually continue climbing higher, slowly, but and we could probably maybe get a break, a nice break here above the 68.50. Now, if we do get a scenario like that, then well, keep an eye on the next potential area of resistance around here, around this 70 mark, approximately there. Let me just quickly actually round it up as well here. So nice area to watch, 77.70, and of course then yep, we'll have to just evaluate it there and see if it wants to continue breaking it or not. But for now, this is something for you guys to keep an eye on. Of course, on the downside, if we get a break here below this upside, this short-term upside support line, if we do get a break below this, for us to kind of become more bearish on this one, we would need to see a nice move below this this area here as well. So the 60-80 mark, let me just kind of adjust this quickly. So the 60-80 mark, of course, it wouldn't be, for us, it wouldn't be enough to see only a break below the support line. We would also need to see a nice move below this this area of support as well, in order to kind of start considering further drops, maybe towards these lows that we had here in the end of June. So for now, guys, keep an eye on this 68.50 area, approximately there, of course, and if we do get a nice break here, this could open the path towards this area right here at around 77.70. Okay, let's have a look at a few pairs now. So the euro yen is an interesting one, and you can see this this continuation and this move higher, where it kind of already broke this key area of resistance at around 131.40, which was marked here by the highs that we had in in May. So this area has been a very good area to keep an eye on. We can see that the rate kind of stalled here a few times. It still closed below it, and on Friday we had a close below this area, but then on Monday, yesterday, we eventually broke this level to the upside. We closed above, and now we are pushing higher, and it seems that we're pushing higher towards this area here at around the 200 EMA, and that level approximately is around 131.90. so something for you guys to watch out for. Keep an eye on this 200 EMA as well. This is what's in regards to the daily chart, but let's put a 4-hour chart quickly on this one. This is where you need to probably be very careful, as if suddenly, let's say, we get a move below this 131.40 mark. Now this, looking at this 4-hour chart, this would also place the and if I'll probably correct myself a little bit here, if we get also not only a break here below the 131, and we get a close of the 4-hour candle here below this level here, this would also place the pair below this 21 EMA. Now this could be seen maybe slightly a bearish signal on the short term, and we could maybe see a move dropping, and this one dropping towards the 50 EMA initially, and then of course, yeah, we would just have to evaluate it from there. Maybe we would continue sliding lower, but for now, like I said, keep an eye on this 131.40. That is, of course, if we get a nice break here below this area, we could start considering a move lower, and this is where I've just right now highlighted a nice level here to keep an eye on. It's the 130.75. Now this is approximately a nice area of potential support, and if we do see, let's say if we do see a break here on the 4-hour chart here, probably by the time it could approach this level, the 50 EMA would approach that 130.75 level as well, so potentially could act as a very nice area of support here. So, but for now, of course, like I said, just looking at the bigger picture, for now, consider the 200 EMA as the potential next target. And of course, we could, if we do get a nice break here above, we could start aiming for some higher levels here. And the good one to watch here is this little jump here that we had around 132.500, which approximately there. This is just an area to keep an eye on for you guys. Maybe we could get a bit of an overshoot, but still, nevertheless, could be a potential good area of resistance, the 132.50. And the last but not the last pair that I really wanted to show you, and probably is going to be very relevant today, and that's the GBPUSD, which we do have some figures coming out from UK today, and some of the unemployment figures, the average earnings numbers as well. So for this one, you probably need to keep an eye on a few levels here. Certainly, this is what's in regards to the bigger picture. We can see that the pair is stuck here below this 133. 1.3365 mark, and of course below the stuck above this 131, and maybe the actually would, if we take this low here, the 130.50. Something for you guys to keep an eye on. Certainly, if we do get a strong move lower here, actually for the move lower, I will jump into the 4-hour chart. But for the on the bigger picture, on the upside, if we get a break here above this level, above this 133.65, this could open the path towards the higher levels towards the 134.70. Could be a potential area of resistance initially, but if that doesn't hold, we could end up moving lower. Certainly, I'm not saying that this could happen over just one day, but something for you guys to keep an eye on. And looking at the 4-hour chart on this one, we can see that potentially for today we could maybe start positioning ourselves for a possible trade here, something like this. Keep an eye on the 132.70 mark, approximately there. So if we do get a nice a pop here above this, this is where it could become interesting, because we could start positioning ourselves for a touch of the potential touch, of course, of the 133.65 area, so which I've just talked about. So something for you guys to keep an eye on. We can see that the 4-hour candle right now is turning positive, and this could lead, maybe we could see maybe a continuation here to the upside, where we could eventually break this 132.70 and move lower. On the downside, we would need to see a move down below this 132.15 mark in order to kind of start considering moves lower. This is, like I said, this is the little area to keep an eye on for today, and we could, like I said, we could maybe see something interesting happening, just because, like I said, we do have some news coming out of UK shortly, actually. So for now, guys, keep an eye on it. Certainly, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. And if you want to join me later on in my Traders Tea Time at 13:15 GMT time, 14:15 British Summer Time. But for now, thank you very much, and bye-bye.